wife ignored our baby name agreement, then blocked me during the delivery.
Whoa.
Hello, I am a 31-year-old man. I mostly only use Reddit to ask about hardware questions, so this is a throwaway account. My wife, 32, and I met at an anime convention in university and started dating a few years later. It's always been part of our story and relationship, both being nerds and everything. By the way, this comes from throwaway dumbest name, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, we have been married for 6 years now, and we have been trying for a baby now that we bought a house. We made 2 lists of names while trying, since we had a bit of a hard time. She very badly wanted to name our child something that would reference a fandom we liked. Ooh, okay. All right. And I agreed it would be very cute, but I told her it'd be better if the reference was subtle. I told her I did not want our child to have a name that was too obviously tied to a fandom or character. She said she understood. Yeah, that's a little worrisome if she's wanting to call your child something really obviously out of a fandom.
Yeah, I hate babies who have that wasn't the end. That wasn't the end of the
hate
statement.
babies.
It wasn't the end of the statement.
Period.
I hate babies who have like weird names like Terrace or like
Harris?
Forest.
Forrest is not so bad. Forrest Gump. You know what? You need to work on.
No, there's names. I actually have a list.
Give me
I have a
names.
list.
She got pregnant, and we each chose a top contender from our list. However, when we found out the baby was a girl, she became fixated on naming our daughter Vriska from Homestuck. I don't know that anime. Specifically, Vriska. I said no multiple times. She insisted it was meaningful because fandoms are a part of our relationship. She wouldn't even hear me out on any other names from Homestuck in that month. Eventually, we had a very heartfelt conversation about it and ended up agreeing that she could choose the name, but from our previously written list, which already contained plenty of subtle references. Early in her 3rd trimester, her mother offered to organize us a baby shower. Our daughter will be the first girl of this generation in her family, so she was very excited. Everything was going great until we opened the gifts from her direct family. Her mom gifted her a set of onesies with the name Vriska printed across the front. Her brother gifted a sort of wooden plaque with Vriska burned into it for the nursery. I was very upset, but I did not say anything. I confronted her once we got home, saying we had agreed not to do this. She immediately exploded, yelling, tears, accused me of being ashamed of our hobbies. Just because OP doesn't want to name his kid Vriska doesn't mean he's ashamed of you guys watching anime. I ended up having to try to calm her down while still trying to maintain my point. When, after like 20 minutes of this, I firmly said we are not naming our daughter that, she grabbed onto my right arm while screaming. It was extremely weird. She's always been a bit impulsive, but she's never done stuff like this. She grabbed the onesies and called her family from the front door patio. She was on the phone the whole time her mom drove here and would scream if I tried to come out. Is she having a breakdown?
Yeah, that's like,
This is so overboard.
and I mean, I'm guessing you're pretty old. Not
Yeah.
like, elderly by any chance. But I mean, like, you've been together 6 years. Like, I would say.
He's 30. Or he's 31.
Okay,
Yeah.
so grow up.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. She stayed with her mom and would not pick up my calls and would not open the door when I visited. She ended up being induced at the hospital at 33 weeks. After the birth, she tried to come back home. She made you miss the birth of your child? I said I could never forgive her for making me miss the birth of my first daughter, that we would need couples and individual therapy, and I asked her if she really did name our baby that. She said yes. I told her to leave. I said all mistakes were repairable, but if she did not agree to change our daughter's name to something we had actually discussed, I would file for divorce and fight her for custody. By the way, you don't have to fight for custody of full episodes of stories just like this, because you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and listen to them for free if you search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thought?
I mean, I don't think it calls for divorce. I feel like that's big.
The thing is that if it were just the name thing, I'd be like, yeah, like, There's a way to get through that. Shouldn't be divorce. But for her to scream at him, freak out, not see him for seemingly like, I don't know, weeks, month, I don't know, make him miss the birth of his child over this whole thing.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like him asking her to change the name is basically saying you need to show that you have changed and that you're willing to compromise or, and like work through whatever you just like, whatever freak out you just had. Or like we can't continue.
Yeah. No, I understand completely where
Yeah.
OP is coming from. I just like, that seems like a silly thing to throw away 6 years worth. I
Yeah.
guess I'm just sentimental.
Yeah, no, I think if it were just the name, but I think because it's like everything surrounding it that she did.
Yeah. Like missing the birth of your child, like,
Yeah.
Saying like, no, he's not welcome to come, like that's sick.
Pretty awful. Her family and most of my family think I'm being unreasonable. And what did they say to her?
Yeah.
Did they say that she was being unreasonable?
Threw a whole big fit that like induced her into having her child because she like freaked out.
And that I can just call the baby by her middle name. My sister said I should never put conditions to starting therapy. What do? How can I fix this? Am I being unreasonable for expecting my wife to not undermine me in such a dramatic way? Should I agree to let her move in and go to counseling before bringing the name up again? And there are some comments. Comment 1 says, not the a-hole. A baby is a person, not a hobby or collectible. Comment 2 says, she's naming your child after a troll? OP says, yes, she was always really into Homestuck, and I read it too. Ah, that's why.
Wow.
That's why. But it was an anime, so it's a
okay.
manga? We both like the character, but I wouldn't name a Hispanic Caribbean child that. Comment 3, applications, school, anything that uses a legal name, like it's an absolutely terrible name and almost guaranteed for that child to despise it. Aside from being bullied, good luck with the resume with that. That poor kid is going to be so resentful as they grow up. You want to give her something that's stupid, do it as a middle name. No one knows nor cares about those. I bet as soon as she can, she'd legally change her name. The wife needs to understand this isn't a dog, but a person that'll be forced to use that name and begrudgingly have to use it. Common Force is not the a-hole. At this point, you'd be divorcing her for way more than just a name. She's shown that she will abandon you and keep you from your daughter in order to get her way. I think you should move forward with the divorce because your wife is highly unstable, and it sounds like her family all enable it. This most likely won't get better, and you should leave before she ends up pregnant again. I think before we jump straight to divorce, I do think I agree with OP's attempt to try and get couples counseling.
I agree with that as well.
Because it seems like your wife is in a very volatile state of mind and maybe she just needs help.
And also it seemed like, even her sister was like, no, therapy's like not the way to go. Like,
yeah.
So maybe that's like, something that has been instilled in them. Like, no, like, you don't need to see a shrink or all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so now that's just what they think. But don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah. Common 5 says, not the a-hole. Baby names are a 2-yes situation and quite a consequential one. She crossed a massive red line. I would move forward with separation since this person very clearly does not respect you and does not see you as a full partner. At least that way, later on, when she tries to steamroll you on some other parenting decision, you will at least have a custody agreement to fall back on. Comment 6 says, Vriska is a truly awful name for a real person. LOL, your wife is insane for pulling this crap. And that's the end of the story.
I wouldn't go as far to say, like...
I don't think it's, like, awful.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far to say as, like, that's the most horrific name.
Yeah.
They're not going to get anything in life. They're going to get bullied. They're going to get this
crazy.
blah, blah, like...
I've heard so many weird children names, and Vriska is not, like, that bad.
Yeah. If it was, like, microwave, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah. I'd be like, your kid's going to get bullied for being called a microwave.
If it literally was, like...
I don't know. Vriska's not that crazy. I think those comments are exaggerating. However, I don't think the issue is the name itself. It's like the situation surrounding naming that child,
Yeah. My husband called me lazy, so I checked out.
You want to see lazy? I'll give you lazy.
My husband and I have been together for 9 years now, and yes, we are currently in marriage therapy and have been for roughly 7 months, though admittedly, I am considering canceling future sessions. We have a 2-year-old together, no other kids. Our relationship prior to our baby was a happy one. By the way, this comes from Possible Mall 1733, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I am Savannah.
I'm Sophia.
And we are here to give some good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We don't only tell you what we would do in this situation, but we would love to know what you would do in the comments. As OP says, when our child was around 2.5 weeks old, I was diagnosed with PPD. I honestly think it was simply struggling with being alone more than anything. We moved away from my mother when our baby was only a day old. He basically said, "Oh, I found us an apartment. We move in today," as we were staying in my mom's basement apartment to save to buy a home, and this was 100% sprung on me with no discussion. That's not cool.
No.
That's not okay.
Yeah, you just had a baby and has PPD, and then he's like, "We're moving. Let's go."
He only took 2 days off work, so basically the first couple weeks of our child's life, I was isolated in an apartment in unfamiliar territory with a brand new baby and surrounded by boxes of our stuff. He left for work at 5 a.m. and often did not come home until after 5 p.m. I was terrified and irritable, and instead of seeing it for what it was, despite me literally telling him what was wrong, he just ultimately decided he could not handle my anger. He started hanging out with his buddies outside our apartment complex for a few hours at least every single night. It was a very telling time of our relationship where he basically abandoned me. He loved our child and did everything when he was home, but the problem was that he hardly ever was home. Eventually, I turned ice cold, which is the only way I know how to put it. I stopped caring that he was not home, and I worked through my PPD essentially alone. He tried smartening up once I was better, but the damage was already done. He suggested therapy, and I agreed. In essence, a lot feels better now. I started feeling like I actually loved him again. He started taking accountability for everything he did and did everything he could to make it up to me. Things were going well. But that leads us to this issue. I am technically a stay-at-home mom, but I also own an online shop and bring in around $900 a month. That's nice. It is not much, but I only spend maybe 2 hours a day on my business, and the rest of the time is dedicated to our child. I buy all home necessities. He pays the bills. And for literal months, he has told me that he prefers this and that even the little bit I bring in helps him tremendously and that he enjoys our arrangement. I now realize he was lying. Don't you just love that when people say exactly the opposite of how they feel and just act like everything's okay, and then later on it blows up in your face and all of a sudden it's your fault for them lying to you in the first place and you believing it? Love that.
Favorite thing.
Love that. I love the gaslighting. That's my favorite thing about being with any person.
This guy stinks. Right after you had your baby, too.
Right, yeah.
Why couldn't he show his true colors before the baby?
Right? He picked a fight with me a week ago. He had the day off and I told him I was leaving the baby with him while I went grocery shopping because he is sick. He acted totally fine with it. By the time I got home 2.5 hours later, he was livid. He was trying to play some game with his online buddies and our baby was not having it.
Well, then maybe you know what to do.
Yeah.
Maybe if your baby doesn't like that you're playing video games, you got to go take care of your baby and not the video game.
Yeah, there's sacrifices that need to be made for an actual human being that you yourself created.
A newborn. Yeah.
Like, please. As stated, they are sick. So my husband is getting irritated because he is being interrupted and the baby is screaming into his microphone. I get the baby calmed down and put away the groceries and then take a seat on the couch. My husband looks at me and I kind of chuckle and say, "I'm glad you see what I go through every day." He goes, "What do you mean?" So I told him that he tells me I take the stay-at-home mom role for granted and that he would love to stay home. He snapped. He said the difference between me and him is that he actually works and never gets a break. That I don't want to work, and if I did, I would find a real job so he would not have to work so much. I asked him when the heck I ever get a break, as this is literally the first time I have been away from our child. He goes, "You get a break every single time you take a nap with them," and made some comment about laziness.
Really? Really? Every time you take a nap with them, you get a break?
Yeah, and I bet you anything, she's also staying up with
Yeah.
the baby when it wakes up throughout the night.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, wow. Okay,
And-
so she's not allowed to sleep.
Yeah.
And she has to get the groceries. And she has to take care of the baby all the time. And he just gets to play video games?
yeah. And he works, which understandably, like, probably sucks or isn't a great job, but, whatever. He gets to work. He brings in the money. She also works.
Yeah.
Brings in some money while also taking care of the child and taking care of herself
Exactly.
and taking care of the house and the groceries and everything else and just making sure that the house is nice and not, infested with rats when you come home.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe,
A little gratitude?
yeah, maybe
Just a
be like, you know what? I'm really happy that we are all, well, I mean, they're sick right now,
Yeah.
but I'm really happy that everyone is surviving right
Yeah.
now. Everyone's
alive.
healthy for the most part, and there's food on the table.
Yeah.
That's really all you can ask for. But now he
I
didn't
bet
get to play his video games with his friends.
Aw, boo-hoo.
Oh no, I have to take care of my child. Ugh. Our son has quite literally not taken a nap in dang near 3 months.
Oh, so he's not even telling the truth about that.
And even when he did take a nap prior, I stayed awake and worked on my business. I do not nap. So I told him that, and he immediately tells me that that is a crock of crap.
Crock of crap.
Crock of crap. Keep in mind, he was on his microphone the entire time, so all his friends heard this.
Oh my
That's
God.
crazy.
Oh my God.
For him not to, step away.
Yeah.
I did not argue further, but I took my ring off. Ooh.
Ooh.
Now that's a telltale sign.
Yeah.
After that, I stopped doing all his laundry. I stopped plating his dinner plates and just left his food in the pots, pans, or Tupperware with the rest of the leftovers. I no longer prep the coffee pot in the morning to brew at 5 a.m. for him. I stopped sending him update texts through the day. I stopped sending him daily pictures of our child. I stopped cleaning up after him, which means all his plates are still on the counters. All his dirty clothing is strewn along the home, and his desk has 4 dirty cups and snack wrappers. He has made comments a few times throughout the week saying this house is always effing trashed. I ignore it. Not all of it is his mess, but about 90% of it is. I simply stop putting the baby's toys away every time he gets done playing, so there are toys everywhere too. Yesterday, he came home and I was already in bed with the baby and did not greet him. He ended up picking up some of his garbage and came in to say we need to talk and that this is being pushed too far. And obviously he didn't mean it. He was just stressed out because he had dealt with the baby screaming for 2.5 hours straight. By the way, we'll never stress you out, because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and just type in OK Storytime. There is a little bit more, but any thoughts?
I don't think we necessarily have to jump to divorce yet. However, if there is not a just big change in the effort that he's putting in at home, then counseling, just we need something to change, because it can't keep going on like this.
It's hard. And you can't compare the working life to a stay-at-home
Yeah.
parent. They're completely different things.
Oh yeah,
And they're meant for completely different people. So,
absolutely.
you can't compare those two things. It's hard. And there has to be a very big sit-down talk that has to happen, and a very big compromise of what the roles are.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I told him the damage was already done, especially considering he was a piece of crap for over a year, not even 7 months ago. He did not get to bounce back to being a piece of crap that quickly when what he did before is still etched heavy in my head. I told him that no, I will not get over his comments, and I do not even know if I want to continue this marriage.
Whoa. Okay, so it seems like there was just a lot going on before the baby.
Yeah.
So
He said everything he said is not enough to warrant a divorce and that he is sorry. I do not even want to look at him, though. That's the
dang,
end.
it seems like they're on the way to divorce.
Yeah.
It
Well, it
doesn't seem
seems
if
like
he's
he has taken her for granted.
Yeah.
And she realizes that. And so she's like, you know what?
that's it.
Then you do your own thing. I'll deal with my stuff, because I've been alone for over a year now trying to deal with my stuff, and you don't care. So I now realize, oh, wait, I can lift myself up on my own. I don't need this guy holding me down or holding me back or causing me issues or making me second guess, So why would I waste my time with this guy who's just going to bring me down when I know that I can do it on my own?
Agreed.
Boom.
Yeah. My wife spent all day gaming with another man, and I was right to worry.
No, no, no. You don't game with another man.
My wife got into online gaming and has a close-knit group of friends that she hangs out with online for about 4 to 5 hours a day. We had a tough time during the vid, and having these online friends is what helped her pull through. By the way, this comes from both Excitement 6700, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, recently I found out that she also spends about 4 to 5 hours during the workday multitasking by watching movies, shows, with specifically her one best guy friend alone. The guy friend lives too far away to be seen, and in general, I would not be concerned. He is younger, doesn't have much of a life outside of gaming due to unfortunate family circumstances. There's not really any comparison in terms of other areas. But my wife has mentioned that for her, she is primarily attracted to people based on emotional connection and not looks or other features. So he's like, he's pretty ugly, but like, and my wife said she doesn't actually care if they're ugly or not.
And then he's over there like, wait.
Huh? We haven't had the best emotional connection for a while, mostly my fault. And she did ask about hypothetically letting this friend move in with us a few months ago. Am I cooked or is this fine? Ooh,
You're cooked.
You're cooked. And I really am worried she'll fall for him, and I have a feeling he probably already has fallen for her, being a single younger guy spending all day with an older woman. There was a relatively minor 4 out of 10 cheating incident that happened years ago, so I'm still insecure. What do you mean?
What does that?
What does that mean?
4
out of 10 cheating?
Like, if I had to give it a rating, it was like a 4 out of 10.
It was like they kissed, but that's it.
They danced together on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And then accidentally slipped into each other's arms.
4 out of 10.
That's a 4 out of 10 in my eyes.
Not sure if I'm overreacting. They are best friends, so I can't just make them not spend time together. That would also make me look like the bad guy. I wouldn't really be able to also spend time with her during the workday. My work is more demanding. I don't want to be a knucklehead, but if there's a potential for problems, I don't want to be oblivious either. They're good friends, and I'm sure they have good intentions. Just want to avoid problematic feelings from showing up. And there is an update, but what do you think?
I mean, I think you just leave it as an online relationship.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be anything else, especially if, like, that's most of the time that she spends. Like, that's obviously,
I think you could have a conversation.
Yeah, you can totally have a conversation and be like, this is just a friend, right? That you, like, just hang out with online. Like, you don't even see that person, whatever. But it is, like, weird when, she's spending most of the time with this guy who she's never met. And, I guess they have similar interests. Like, you talk while you play video games. Like, it's not like you're just talking about the game. Like, you can have conversations, like, talking to people online. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't consider it cheating.
No, not at the moment.
4 out of 10.
Yeah,
I'd
4
give
to
that
10 cheating.
4 out of 10. 2 out of 10 cheating.
I want to know what the previous situation was.
Yeah, I feel like that would give us a little more context.
And in this scenario, I think you have a conversation with her and you say, hey, I've been a little bit insecure about this. I feel a little bit worried. I feel like I haven't been showing up for you emotionally, and I would love to work on that. And just get all of that stuff out in the open. Update. I talked with my wife about the issue, and she's going to stop doing anything with him during the day.
I feel like that's counterintuitive.
She's going to do it at night now?
Yeah, now she's just going to be like, instead of coming to bed, she's going to be like, well, it's mine and, this guy's time. Sorry.
It's our nighttime time. She is still allowed to play games with him in the evenings in a group setting. She didn't deflect or anything. She acknowledged that it was too much time to be spending with him, especially alone. She didn't quite hide it, but basically it used to be more of a group thing that eventually just became solo time between them. I knew she would watch some stuff with friends during the day, but not how much, and not the fact it was now just the two of them. I didn't quite make this clear in the initial post, but I already shut down the idea of him moving in when it was initially brought up, before I knew about the extent of the daytime stuff. Though it was also just going to be a temporary thing around a year. Around a year is a long time.
Yeah,
That's a full lease.
That's not temporary.
That's not temporary. That's a full lease.
Temporary, I would say like maybe a month, maybe
Yeah.
2.
No, I don't see living together in someone's house as for a year as temporary. To help him get out of a crappy country living situation. Still, would have been too far though.
Wait, he's in a different country, this guy?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, no, you can't, because you don't know if he's like not legal or then you got, like all these things happen. He can't just flee the country and come live at your place.
We're looking into insurance, clinics for marriage counseling. I appreciate the perspectives of everyone who commented. There were a lot more comments than I expected, and I was busy discussing things with my wife once I decided on the plan of action, so I didn't respond to too many comments. I know generally advice on Reddit will tend towards the extreme, but the main takeaway was the overwhelming solidarity in opinions. And comment 1 says, "He was going to move into your home? How did I miss this?" I don't know. It was in the first part. OP says, "It's not quite as bad as it sounds. We have a large house and extra space to rent out. But yeah, I wasn't okay with that idea for the obvious reasons people have pointed out." Comment 2 says, "Are you delusional? This is 100% not over between them. It will just be hidden better now in secret app texts. And there are lots of them. Don't waste your time with this woman. Respect and vows, respect and emotional relationship, respect for you. These are all gone." I think we need to calm for a second.
Take a second, comment or two.
Take a breath. I don't know if we have all that information yet. Comment 3 says, "So she's agreed to cheat on you less? She still gets to cheat. You feel like you've made up some ground on setting reasonable boundaries that her affair partner can't move in, and she can only talk to him 12 hours per day instead of 18 hours per day, and everyone's happy. Sounds like a win for everyone. Well done." And there's another update.
That was such a rude comment.
Yep, says OP. "Reddit was right. Wife was having a full online affair." Oh, as bad as it can possibly get. The dirty talk was next level, 10 times more than I had ever got as a husband, also filled with emojis, exposed by Discord, 22,000 messages, and 14 hours in call a day. Does she not work?
Yeah, I thought that too. I don't know if maybe that's her job to like stream or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but if she's streaming and also dirty talking, that's...
Ooh, you just cut those part out.
Yeah. I assumed that there would barely be any messages before and that she wouldn't be dumb enough to have incriminating messages, so I didn't even bother to ask about looking at the messages before. She spent every waking moment that she wasn't sleeping or with me, including at work, with him. So all those messages would have been sent while with me, I assume.
Oh.
I even caught her enjoying herself. She was making loud noises months ago and asked if it was with a friend, and she said no.
What?
You asked if it was so you already thought she was cheating months ago. You're like, is someone on the line? She's like, nope. Nuh-uh. She even kept cheating after I was spiraling after discovering her other infidelity and after she said she would stay with me. By the way, you should stay with us and listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
I mean, I had OP's back.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I feel like if OP would have given the previous story on the infidelity, then that would have painted a more clear picture.
I agree.
I think right now I feel a little dummy dumb because I
was hoping that they could solve it, but no, she's cheating.
Yeah, because I was like, well, talking to someone isn't like cheating per se. The 2 out of 10, but then if it's more like emotionally attached, and then speaking about real things,
and then we're involving emojis.
Yeah, emojis takes it to a 6.
Yeah,
that's a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I've got some crazy emojis that I made.
I know, and I love them.
Listen to Reddit, people. My wife is basically undiagnosed autistic, never even attracted to other people. Seemed like the most loyal person ever, and still jumped into an affair. It was going on for a year and started after knowing him for only a few months. F my life. She won't cut off the affair partner and loves him more, even willing to blow up the pretty dang good life we have. Don't trust a cheater. Yes, I'm going to leave. At this point, I would just prefer comments validating how effed up it is, to be honest. I get it, though. I was too lenient before, but yeah, I get it. Maybe was the previous thing was when you caught her? Maybe he did say it.
Oh, when she was
Yeah.
doing something and then he said, "Was that with a friend?"
Yeah.
And she said, "No."
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what the past infidelity was there, but I know what the current one is, and that's kind of all that matters. So I'm so sorry, OP, and I hope your divorce process is swift.
My husband swears nothing is wrong, but he makes me feel unwanted.
Well, then I don't want you.
Me, 23 female, and my husband, 26 male, have been together for 7 years, married for 3, and I feel like he's not attracted to me anymore. I have talked to him about it before, and he just laughed it off and says things along the lines of, "If I wasn't attracted to you, we wouldn't be together, but things are not like they used to." By the way, this comes from Deleted. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I am Savannah.
I'm Sophia.
And we are here to give some good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We'd only tell you what we would do in this situation, but let us know what you would do in the comments.
Yeah.
As OP says, he used to go to the kitchen while I was cooking to hug and kiss me, look for me while he was asleep to hug me, move me to the other side of the sidewalk if we are walking on the street, just so I'm farther from the road, and all of that is gone. It truthfully breaks my heart because I'm very in love and attracted to him, but nothing I do seems to work. I thought it was because I gained a couple of pounds after we got engaged.
Oh, no.
So I did many diets, went to the gym, and lost them, but every time that I try to initiate intimacy, I get rejected.
No.
It happens when he wants it to happen, which is like once every 6 days, and after he's done, it's done. I get left there wanting more. The last times I tried, all I got was a maybe later, and that never arrived. And it's defeating because when I ask for it, it's because I've been wanting it a lot, so it leaves me sad and unwanted.
No, that's unacceptable.
That sounds like a lot of women's situations.
That's really awful. That should not be the case. Both of your partners, you and your partner should be left satisfied. It shouldn't just be like one person's benefit whenever they want it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a great wife. I have my own business and it's very successful. I make sure everything is clean, food is ready and served. If he wants something, I buy it for him. I try to always look my best, even though I don't wear makeup. I take 3 days off a week and don't work after 6 p.m., so my schedule is from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. I work in our basement, so I make us lunch in between work. Sounds like the dream.
Yeah.
I make sure that he has everything his heart desires. If he wants the latest PS5, I buy it. Make sure to tell him how handsome he looks and how much I appreciate him and how much I love him. But what about me? What about me?
What about me?
I don't remember the last time he told me I look beautiful or he held my hand without me doing it first, or something so simple like I love you, little to no intimacy, no compliments, and we are young. I'm not saying everything has to be sunshines and rainbows, but I truly don't feel desired. It breaks my heart because I love him with all my heart. And I really, really want him, like, really bad sometimes. I feel like a teenager just staring at him, wanting him, but I don't think I should be going through this. Is it that I'm too available? Am I asking for too much because I want the man that I love to desire me and touch me like he used to?
No, that's not too much.
Yeah, that is not. That's asking actually the bare minimum.
Bare minimum. He should be saying that you're the most beautiful woman he's ever seen.
Yeah. I tried to talk to him about it, and he assures me that everything is fine.
But it's not fine.
Yeah,
I hate that. I hate when, like, you bring something up that's an issue, and they're like, no, everything's fine, everything's fine. It's like, no, because I don't feel good.
Yeah.
So obviously not everything is fine.
So everything might be fine with you, but it's not fine with me. So let's work this out so I feel better.
Yeah.
Boom. I don't think he's cheating on me. He works from home on a separate bedroom and spends most of his time at the house, if not working, playing video games, which I don't mind him doing. I actually enjoy seeing him play, and I manage the house finances. He literally gives me every single cent of his paycheck to the point where if he wants something, he has to ask me for money, which is funny to me, and that's something he chooses to do. I never asked him to. But the spark is not there. I don't doubt that he loves me, but it's like he touches me out of responsibility, not desire. By the way, we desire your attention to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There is a little bit left. What are we thinking?
Okay. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I won't jump to cheating conclusions because you said, you don't think it's that. So I think there is like a loss of spark here. Maybe he's stressed about work or a family situation or feeling depressed. There could be a lot of different reasons. And I think you just go back to him and say, hey, you might not think there's a problem, but I am not getting my needs met.
Yeah.
And that's an issue.
And sometimes people figure that out later in their relationship, like much, much later. I absolutely hate to hear the stories of like these people have been together for 10 years and all of a sudden it's just not working.
Yeah.
Because you just grow. You continue to grow and sometimes you don't grow together.
That is actually a great point because they are childhood sweethearts. He is now, he's 26. He's been together with her since he was around 18, it seems, and is a different person. And yeah, maybe, I hope this is not the case, but it could be a thing of you are still in love with him and have grown into a person that still loves this version of him. And he's grown into a person that,
is kind of
doesn't fit with you.
Yeah. How can I resolve this? How can I make my husband want me? How can I rescue my marriage? Is it that I love him more than he loves me? Am I too available? Help. It's really getting into my head and making me feel insecure and spicy sleep deprived.
Oh.
I forgot to add that we don't have any kids. He's the only man I've been with, and it used to be amazing, but not anymore. There are some comments. Comment number 1. You're too young to be living like this. Also, you can't love someone into loving you.
True.
Ugh. That gave me the chills. That's actually horrible, and I hate that. OP replies, I know, and that's how I feel and what I think about all the time. But I don't want to give up just yet. I want to see how could I fix it that way. I can walk away with a heavy heart, but knowing that I did the best that I could because I really love him and would love to spend the rest of my life with the man I fell in love with. Comment 2 says, you sound like an awesome person and a goddess as a wife. You may have to pull back a little to make him see how great you are. You may be making life too easy for him. Once he sees, he will appreciate you for it. You go and be the best you can be.
Aw. That is a really great point because I think in a lot of stories where we have a person who's been in a relationship since they were young, you kind of haven't had time to figure out who you are as a person independently. Because you're like, I would say 16 to like 20, probably 16 to 26 is when you figure out who you are. Those are like the prime 10 years of like, who am I?
Yeah.
And to do like 16 to 20
with someone who's also going through that,
it's
like
a little bit difficult, and you kind of get jumbled up and mixed together, and you don't really know who you are without them.
It's hard to find an identity when you've always had that person next to you. Not that like you are that person and you become one, but I mean it is hard. Like imagine if you weren't together, you would be doing things for yourself rather than doing things for him all the time,
So I think it's like, maybe when he asks you to do spice or sleep stuff, it's like, well, I don't really want to do that.
After
or like,
you.
Yeah, like you go first. It's like
goes.
Yeah. It's like you're clear and you're like, well, I want to get my needs met. Or even it's like, I want to go figure out like what I like to do outside of this marriage, like a hobby. Or are you in school? Have you finished school? Is there something else you want to pursue? Are you doing a job, a career?
Yeah, where are your friends?
Yeah. Do we have a strong friend group, support system?
You like game night with gals.
Yeah.
I love game night with gals.
Game night with gals.
OP replies, you're right. Maybe if I'm less available, things would get better. Comment number 3 says, what do you do together to have fun and be playful? Once married, men find playfulness and peace far more appealing than physical attraction. Also, it's great that you do things for him, but be careful how much. Men don't want to be married to their mothers. It unalives attraction.
I don't like that comment. How it's saying, well, what are you doing for him? Like, men don't like
Right.
this. Men don't like
Yeah,
that. It's like,
that- I was just
no.
gonna say that.
Let's focus on you.
It's like, well, maybe if you did this to
Yeah.
appease him.
OP's
well,
not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, OP is literally the dream.
Yeah.
What?
The issue is either that he is no longer attracted because they've grown apart, or that she needs to go find her own hobbies and stuff. Those
Yeah.
are like, those are the two things that we need to focus on.
OP replies, well, he loves staying home, so I got one room of the house and built a whole gaming setup for him since he loves
my
playing
gosh.
video games, and used a
Nice.
small corner for me to read. That way I can watch him play while I read. We really enjoy that. Also, I go to dinners, take the dogs on walks in the park, and go on vacation twice a year. Well, I mean, you're doing things outside of him, so I guess like that's I don't know. I mean, still, but even those, like, is he there on the vacations?
Yeah.
Like, is he there on the walks? Like, are you
Yeah.
going out to dinner with him? Like, are these really things that you're doing separate from him?
Yeah.
I think you need to figure out your separate life,
Mhm.
because it's so much fun to have a separate life, but also a married life.
I
Not that
agree.
I would know, but
It seems.
it seems
Yeah.
like it would be a good
Well-
time because you get to do what you want while
Yeah.
also doing it with your partner at times.
Yeah.